This is Two Pricks Talk 80s Flicks. Welcome to Two Pricks Talk 80s Flicks, the world's nerdiest and therefore best 80s film podcast. We take the Pepsi challenge to 80s filmmaking and sort out the bodacious from the bogus. I'm your professorial host, Mike, the Egon Spengler of the podcast world, joined as always by the film buff, the man with IMDb implanted in his brain, Darren.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I am enjoying the atmosphere of being in the house again.
What are the odds?
I know. I mean, to be fair, I'd be sitting watching films anyway, but you know.
It's sometimes handy being a shut-in, isn't it?
Plenty of practice for this, I'll be honest, over the years.
This episode, we're going to be talking about Weird Science.
Oh, yes.
So, it's a film very much of its time, 1985, right slap bang in the middle of the 80s. So, Darren, what was in the charts about that time?
Well, in the States, it was released early August 1985. Number one at the time was Back to the Future. Arrived in the UK 1st of November 85, and at that time, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was number one over here.
Really? Yeah, I've never seen that. I've never seen Mad Max, any of the films.
Third one's not great.
Is that the one with Tina Turner? Yeah, the first two are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, and the most recent one.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's a very different film, but yeah, let's not go into that. That's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, but 1985, Christ, what did you have that year as well? Rocky 4?
Rocky 4 it would have been, yeah, I think so.
So we're talking peak 80s here.
Oh, definitely.
We'll see that in Weird Science, I think.
But yeah, I think pretty much Back to the Future stole that year for the blockbusters.
Do you remember when you first saw it?
Do you know what? Again, I think, like Creepshow, I feel like I probably watched this for the first time with you.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
I'm struggling to remember when I would have first seen this. So it must have been in my early to mid-teens.
I clearly have been a very bad influence on you. For me, it was quite a bit further back. It was the time when I started hanging about with, obviously, this guy that you know as well, Barry Johnston. So this was about primary 5 when we first started becoming friends. So he had the great advantage that his mum worked in the evenings, and so his house was without adult supervision.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know, his granny would come down to vaguely keep an eye, but she'd be down there for 10 minutes, make sure that the house wasn't on fire, then we head back home. Weird Science. So we used to watch it every night for about 4 months. And it was just absolutely intoxicating. You know, the fact that we were a bit like Gary and Wyatt went unspoken.
Yeah, I identify far too much with Gary and Wyatt.
The whole sort of a party scene atmosphere I found very, enthralling, the first half of the film. And of course, Kelly LeBlanc. Oh my God. But of course, it's not just the fact that she's stunningly beautiful, and she is, but it's the fact that you've got a stunningly beautiful woman to sort of guide you through life, as it were, to be the Mary Poppins figure. So John Hughes had been on a bit of a roll career-wise. His first one of significance, I guess, was National Lampoon's Vacation.
We wrote National Lampoon's Vacation. He'd actually done a bit of writing for National Lampoon. But yeah, he'd written a few things. He wrote an article called, I think it was Vacation 58, which became National Lampoon's Vacation. He also did one called Christmas 59, I think, which became Christmas Vacation and so forth.
All right.
And I think it was, 1984, so the year before this, that he got his first crack at directing.
Right.
With 16 Candles. So he wrote and directed that. And that was basically the start of it, the sort of the run of hits, to be honest. Just had a wee look at his filmography here. So 1984, 16 Candles. 1985, there was The Breakfast Club and Weird Science, both written and directed by him.
Yep.
1986, Pretty in Pink, wrote and directed Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the same year.
Yep.
Then in 1987, directed and wrote Planes, Trains and Automobiles, and wrote Some Kind of Wonderful, which is one I don't really know.
I've seen it. It's quite good.
And I kind of feel like if he'd stopped at that point, he probably would have been on a good thing.
Well,
as a director,
if he was earning a percentage, then he probably made the most money out of Home Alone.
Yeah, that seems to be the biggest one in terms of his screenwriting hits.
Yeah, or wasn't Beethoven quite a hit as well? I mean,
yeah, I think he wrote Beethoven under an alias, actually.
Did he?
It's called Edmond Dantes.
But I mean, after Home Alone, it descends into family-friendly schlock, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah, the last film he directed was 1991. That was Curly Sue.
Okay, yeah.
I can vaguely remember seeing that on video. I can remember nothing about it.
So yeah, I mean, with 16 Candles, he kind of inaugurated the sensitive teen comedy, as it were. But prior to that, teen comedies had been kind of like Porky's or Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, they were much more coarse and purely for the guys, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He was sort of the god of 80s teen movies, really, wasn't he? I mean, just had an ear for the dialogue. And
the characters as well. I think overall, the best of them is The Breakfast Club.
I would be curious to know how well The Breakfast Club stands up. I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I would enjoy something like Weird Science.
Why was that? I mean, I think it's a great film.
I just think probably as entertainment, I find probably Weird Science a bit more entertaining. It's maybe because a lot of the gags are lower brow. So I'd be curious to watch it again. It'd be interesting to see how well that has sort of gone.
I think it still stands up really well. You could argue about the characters being stereotypes or cliches, but in high school, that's what you tend to be. You tend to be a type. You've got your different groups, and you try and fit into that.
Yep, you've got your jocks, your nerds, your princess, your nerd,
princesses, sports. You've got your metaler, sort of
the rebel,
criminal rebels. Yeah. Then you've got your sort of weirdo goth shut-ins.
Yep.
And of course, nowadays, I feel myself empathising more with the teacher, Mr. Vernon.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. But I'm sure we've had this conversation before about the older you get, the more your attitude and your focal point shifts. As much as I used to love watching Ferris Bueller when I was younger, I cannot stand the little fucker now. He's such a smug bastard.
Hey, how you doing? You speak English?
And I am with Ed Rooney that entire film.
But I mean, the real hero of the film was always Cameron, in terms of, Ferris it's almost like he's a mirage or something, or a dream figure. There's no development to him in the film whatsoever. There's nothing can deter him, nothing upsets him. He's hardly even human like that, Cameron is the one who has feelings and emotions and who has growth during the film.
Yeah. He's the one who the next morning when he gets up, things have changed.
Well, he's the only one. Well, no, that's not true. There's Jeannie, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she changes quite a bit as well.
Funnily enough, you mentioned in Ferris Bueller there, I didn't realise that Anthony Michael Hall was originally meant to be playing Cameron. But he turned it down because he didn't want to be typecast. So he turned down that. And there was another role which I wish I could remember. It'll probably come back to me later.
He turned down European Vacation.
Yes, he turned down European Vacation, so he never went back to playing Rusty. And as a result, I don't think any of the Chevy Chase films have the same two actors playing the son and daughter.
Yeah, because he was on Saturday Night Live. He was age 17, him and Robert Downey Jr. Yeah,
they both did. I think they were on the same season, weren't they? But
they were, yes.
That's really weird. I'd love to see some of the footage from that.
Can you imagine being 17 years old and on Saturday Night Live? That's incredible.
Sorry, I've just remembered that other role he turned down. It was in Pretty in Pink. He was up for Ducky, sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah, Ducky's a sort of precursor of Ferris, isn't he? Oh, he looks almost exactly like him, except that Ducky is poor and Ferris is rich.
Yeah, now this is one of the things in those sorts of films that you're sort of wondering, wait a minute, where financially do these characters and their families sit? Because, funnily enough, in this film, I picked up on it a wee bit that was, these two guys come from quite different backgrounds.
Very different, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come to that.
But it is one of the things that John Hughes was well known for, was his class sensitivity. A lot of American films especially have this generic middle-class suburban approach. And with John Hughes films, they tended to be quite detailed about the class background of the characters. In Some Kind of Wonderful, for example, I think all of them are poor, or like all the main characters are poor, which makes it quite interesting, because like later on you see it, like all the characters seem to be fucking rich. Like the size of the house in Home Alone. It's a fucking mansion.
Yeah, there's one of those questions, like, what in the name of hell does their dad actually do? The size of the family he is supporting and the size of the house he's got.
Probably owns a plantation in Jamaica. Something, probably some CEO of a mega finance corp, but he doesn't look particularly stressed, like you expect somebody like that to be. Yeah, very much the class details are quite, especially his early films, are quite sharp. And as you say, interesting points of the characterization. But we'll come to that.
Oh, sorry, one thing I didn't realise was one of his unproduced screenplays was the original idea for Jaws 3.
Really?
Which was a spoof. So around about the time of Animal House, it would have been, so 78, 79 probably. And I remember the title from ages ago. It was called Jaws 3 People Nil. but it never happened, sadly. I got Jaws 3D instead. So
let's take it from the top of the film then.
Okay.
So right off the bat, so we're in the gym. We're introduced to Gary and Wyatt. We're zooming up. We see their cheap sneakers. This is in the days of when you could still get the old plimsoll sort of things.
Yep.
Just when Nike was coming out and start making everyone demand from their parents like $100 trainers. God, that must have been so annoying. Imagine being a parent in the 80s and now your child is demanding $80 trainers or £80 trainers. I don't spend that money on trainers now, 40 years later.
No, me neither.
And they were literally £80.
Back then.
And that was 30 years ago. God, no wonder they said no.
Yeah, it's weird because Wyatt's family can clearly afford to buy him good trainers.
Yeah, but I think it's made clear at the end of the film that they are rather oppressive, and so they're not going to give him what he wants. He's going to get what they think he wants.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Like a very expensive computer, for example. But we'll come to that. Right, so we're zooming up. We see the two of them, and they're standing by the door of the gym, basically dribbling with lust, watching girls doing gymnastics.
Ah, bless.
And we also see Deb and Hilly there.
Standing in the background. Yeah. You really get a sense of their awkwardness.
Oh, yeah. I love the bit when they go dancing and he does this ridiculous hand gesture.
I think, is he supposed to be mixing a cocktail? Is that what he's maybe... Or is it a dance thing? I don't know. But so when they're talking there and you get that initial sense of, okay, who they are. So they're both really awkward, unpopular, but Wyatt is clearly aware of this. Gary seems to be unaware of this. He's got this bizarre fantasy thing that if they went out, they would be able to do all this stuff.
You think?
And yeah, I think he's got an odd sense of...
I think he's not aware. I think he's fully aware. He's just that he's trying to dream of it,
I don't know. He just doesn't seem as conscious of the fact that he's a complete loser. It's fantasy sort of thing that it's everybody else. It's just not picking up on that they are fantastic. But
of course, Wyatt's coming from money, so he's got time. He's going to go to university. He's going to get a career. What's Gary got? Not much.
Well, do you think maybe that's it then? They've got their different backgrounds and they're going in different directions. Gary wants to go up the way, whereas Wyatt is up. Not his social standing, but he kind of doesn't have that confidence. Or
so Gary's lust is not just for women, is it? It's for an entire life which is denied him.
Yeah.
Makes it a bit more poignant, doesn't it?
Well, potentially, yeah. Whereas Wyatt just gets sort of dragged down and dragged along with Gary's ideas.
Yeah. Obviously they're both pretty nerdy. They're both intelligent. So, I guess they both play chess, as is implied later on. In high school, the different classes are thrown together for like the last time in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Wyatt's going, Gary, nobody likes this. Nobody. And Gary's going, why mess with the fantasy? We know about the reality. But of course, while he's drooling on about his fantasy, he's predicting the plot of the film.
Isn't he just, yeah? Maybe he's just an optimist in these things then, and Wyatt's the pessimist. Maybe that's a simpler way of looking at it.
So while they're dribbling on and drooling, up steps behind them, obviously, the two school bullies. And then this wonderful bit of characterization. You just see them from their trainers, and they're both wearing Nikes.
Yeah. Ian and Max.
So already you can tell these are the cool guys. They've got the hip trainers.
The thing is, though, are they that cool? We don't really see them from any other perspective other than Gary and Wyatt's, and basically their own.
Well, at the party...
They don't really interact with anybody else.
No, that's true. No, but they come in and they're like, how you doing? How you doing? They're acting all the big shots. And they've got these nice girlfriends as well.
I wonder if they're just as big a pair of losers as Gary and Wyatt, but they have got, an overabundance of self-confidence that just makes them arseholes.
What's that famous quote from John Hughes? He says, a nerd is somebody who's got everything going for him, but just doesn't know it yet. So Gary and Wyatt are nerds, yeah?
Yeah.
And they've got the intelligence and they've got the desire to make something of themselves, as we'll see through the film. They've got morality and they've got ethics, No, seriously. Yeah.
Which is two things that Ian and Max certainly don't.
Well, exactly. So they could very well be losers because as life goes on, it's going to pass them by, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to... Well, actually, they probably would end up doing well, wouldn't they? Because life doesn't work like that.
You hear about people who peak in high school. Like, fucking hell, how tragic must that be? If you're the alpha dog in high school and that was your peak, god damn.
Well, you tend to see that in a lot of films, don't you? The guy who was the jock, who is constantly trying to live off that fact.
Yeah. And
constantly trying to regain that. He just looks like a sad middle-aged man. He's like, what, is that really all you've got? It was 20 years ago. Yeah,
does it happen like that in real life, though? I don't know. I tend to avoid these cunts like the plague. Anyway, so they're standing behind them, sniggering, and then when Gary gestures over at the Hilly and Deb, those two dames fall amazingly, completely, and totally in love with us. Then, yo, check us out!
Pants down. Very, very awkward moment.
You kind of wonder how the girls didn't notice them standing there.
Yeah, you would think. But then, does anybody ever notice them, generally?
And Gary's horrified look on his face. So from that, we're led to the Weird Science intro, which is fucking brilliant. I love that song.
Yeah, I love. Do you know what? I love the logo, that Weird Science logo, and the way it buzzes in. And then, the theme song. Once I was listening to it earlier, and it gets stuck in my head.
It's a brilliant song.
It is. Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo, yeah. Who were themselves a pretty damn good band. They've got this great song about capitalism. There's nothing wrong with capitalism.
There's nothing wrong with the capitalism. There's nothing wrong with the free enterprise. Don't try and make me feel guilty. I'm so tired of it.
You can't quite tell if they're taking the piss or not.
Well, Danny Elfman there on lead vocal.
Right.
He did all right for himself, didn't he? I mean, he was sorted once he met Tim Burton, really, wasn't he? I do tend to find his scores for Tim Burton sound quite samey. There's a lot of quirky, plinky, plonky stuff going on. But, he did the Simpsons theme.
He did the Simpsons. I wonder if he gets a royalty off of that.
You would hope, wouldn't you?
Fucking hell. Yeah, the credits come in as if by lightning, electricity. Great. Yep. It just looks fantastic.
And it still holds up really well now, I think. Yeah, and funnily enough as well, I didn't realise that there was a wee sort of tie-in with our previous podcast. Yes, with Weird Science being one of the EC50s comics, and story here being very loosely based on a story from one of those comics called Made of the Future. But I thought that's a nice little bit of linking trivia there. But
So then we see the two of them having a sleepover. Gary's in the bathroom, searching desperately for the signs of a mustache. Again, the size of the house that Wise got, he's got his own bathroom.
yeah,
Shaving off this non-existent tash.
and don't make a mess in there because the maid doesn't arrive till Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. And he basically just rubs the shaving foam off with a towel and just leaves it there. Yep. Throws the razor into this disgusting sink, and the maid doesn't come till Monday. Back through the bedroom, and they're watching Bride of Frankenstein. No, just Frankenstein, is it?
Well, they're watching Frankenstein, yeah. Oddly enough, though, when they're watching it in his bedroom, it's a colorized version.
I love Gary's purple T-shirt as well. Have you noticed, just how threadbare it is, and how there's holes in the shoulders and at the neck?
Oh, I never noticed that.
Have you never noticed that? Really?
I noticed that. Yeah, I was watching it in HD as well. You'd think these would show up.
Fucking hell! Oh, it totally shows up. See when they're sitting going, "I'm talking about your system, you idiot." Yeah, and I always thought that was such a nice touch. It's is it because he's poor and doesn't have any non-holy T-shirts, or is it that it's his favourite one? It just doesn't want to give it up.
Could be.
That's what I thought.
What's Wyatt's stuff like? Has he got anything threadbare?
Wyatt? God, no. He's got a pretty amazing bedroom, doesn't he?
Yeah. Watching this though, one thing that struck me was in terms of pretty much everything in it. The look, the sound, the clothes, the artwork. Those prints on the wall, the hair, just the pop culture stuff. This is possibly the most 80s film I think I've ever seen.
Oh, I don't know. How about Rocky IV?
This has got everything.
Rocky IV was geopolitics, but this in terms of style, fashion, visuals, etc. Yeah, I think I probably agree with you.
And it is glorious.
So then Gary starts going, it's not such a bad idea. Making a girl. Actually making a girl. Just like Frankenstein, except cuter. You're serious, right?
Look into my eyes.
Yeah. Gary Wallace, that's sick. I'm not digging up dead girls.
Oh, and anyway, what about your girl in Canada? Which is funny because I'm sure Anthony Michael Hall also has apparently a girlfriend in Canada in Breakfast Club.
He does, yeah. Gary persuades him, saying, "Your system, you idiot, your computer. You know how you can simulate all that stuff?"
This is probably the early point in the film where you realise, reality and any sort of sense of logic goes right out the window at this point, doesn't it? Because as much as 80s films used to love bigging up what computers could do, this is just hilarious to watch.
His computer is a Memotech MTX 512 with an FDX add-on, whatever that means. So, in those days, that's boasting 512 kilobytes of RAM.
Oh, man.
When you consider that the poor old Commodore 64, the best-selling home computer of the 1980s, had 64K, that's got 8 times the RAM of that.
And look what you could do with it.
So when they get to work, they start simulating away. And of course, first you've got that blueprint of the woman with the boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's juvenile. It's ridiculous. It's sexist, but
you've got the logic behind it as well. That Gary, is that any more than a handful is waste. You're risking a sprained tongue. Speaking with a wisdom that he does not have.
Exactly. It's when they shrink them back down and they jiggle up.
They bounce into place.
Then, should we give her a brain? Should we give her? Yeah, we can play chess with her. To get a free toaster with this? So then, obviously, they hack into the Pentagon mainframe.
That'll end well.
As you do. Yeah.
Would you like to play a game?
I'd like to play thermonuclear warfare. Oh God, the graphics for the hacking is just wonderful. It's just
Really is.
so bad and so great at the same time. I don't know how to put it into words. It's just so 80s.
And the
Yeah.
music that goes with that scene as well.
Oh,
It
it's
just,
amazing. Oh, brilliant.
I'm sure there's a recreation of the Twilight Zone opening titles in that as well, with the eyeball and the
Yeah,
EMC square.
yeah. That's
Ticking
right.
clock.
Yeah. It's we're in. I fucking love that bit. Yeah. Gotta get as much data as possible. Yeah. I want her to live. I want her to breathe. I want her to aerobicize. They open up this huge suitcase full of porn and the scanner.
Yeah.
God, in those days, computers, they were just magical. They could do anything, couldn't they?
Oh, well, literally, yeah, at this point, yeah. Although it takes a bolt of lightning as well.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So they're scanning in Beethoven, picture of Houdini, Einstein for his brains. They find the picture of Kelly LeBrock's face.
Yep. David Lee Roth.
Dave Lee Roth, wild man. Yeah, the IQ is over 230. Of course, Dave Lee Roth does the version of Pretty Woman when they're in the shopping mall.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I love the way that they gradually become sweatier and,
Well, do you know what? Yeah, I was going to ask about that. By the end of that scene, they are literally dripping with. And I'm thinking, what in the name of hell is going on here? Why are they getting so moist?
the whole process is so overwhelming.
Okay, that must be it. Yeah.
It's working itself. It's doing it itself. Yeah, well, that's handy because that gets out of explaining how the fuck you're doing all this.
Yeah, you don't have to explain it. Just it's doing it itself. Can I just double check something though here, Mike? I meant to ask at the start. Why are we wearing bras on our heads?
It's ceremonial.
As well, when everything's kicking off, and nobody else really, nothing else is mentioned about the fact that all this weird shit has happened. Dogs suddenly sitting on the ceiling, the town sign bursting into flames spontaneously.
So they hook up the doll. You've got to remember to hook up the doll.
Oh yeah,
and she's got the same pants and everything. It's brilliant.
She actually looks like Kelly LeBrock. That's the thing.
Then they're doing the ceremony. Bras on heads, candles, the whole thing, hooked up to the party. I love the ceremonial chant he does as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what language that is.
I come, gonna tell 'em money. I don't think I've ever told you this story before, right? But do you remember in first year high school, we had to make up a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which your big story for the year sort of thing, and it would be done in chapters and compile it with a cover and everything, right? So
yeah,
I had read Lord of the Rings by this time, so mine was basically a Lord of the Ringsy sort of rip-off, except it happened all in one chapter sort of thing. It was called Orth and the Mirror of Uruk.
Oh, I remember this.
Basically, they find the mirror does weird things to them. They take it to a wizard does a spell, and it solves everything, right? The wizard does a spell, and I ripped off the spell from this chant with some weird accents just thrown in here and there. There might be a few diphthongs, a few umlauts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just to make it all look weird and elvish or whatever.
Oh, I'm impressed.
I'm always amazed I never got pulled up for the amount of times I nicked stuff, like stories and shit like that. I got totally brilliant grades for. I forgot. I should have mentioned it last week, but also it was in second year high school, and they just asked us to do a story about something, and I basically wrote the story of They're Creeping Up on You.
Did you?
I did. Yeah, with a bit more explanation of what his company was, yada yada yada. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It got pulled up in front of the class as an example of a great story. So, thank you, Stephen King.
And nobody else had seen Creepshow at this point, presumably.
Nobody else. Yeah, well, that's a great thing.
He got away with it.
So we see that outside the house, the clouds are strangely red. There's a lightning storm.
It's like Ghostbusters.
The light filter is even redder.
Is it? Okay.
And then they're getting ready to press the enter button. And it's glowing red with two lights. And then, pwah!
It blows them across the room.
And then you can see on the monitor screen just loads of pictures of breasts flashing by, which of course you had to watch in slow motion. I can't have been the only one, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure plenty of other people did, yeah.
Suddenly there's a hurricane in the room, everything's going weird, explosions going off. Yeah, the house gets hit by lightning, connects to the doll. He's going, "We gotta get this out of your room. You get it out, you get it out, I'll get it out. Oh no, I was a birthday present." Hits him with a baseball bat, which seems to be made of glass.
Yep, the baseball bat explodes.
Yeah.
Unplugs the system. It's still going.
Like every demonic computer system, like in Superman 3.
Oh, yes.
It's doing it itself. So they scurry under the desk. The bathroom door starts swelling. Then that lovely pink misty light.
Oh, yes. And there she is.
God, she looks amazing, doesn't she? She still looks amazing.
She looks fantastic. Oh, my word.
Oh, those pouty lips. I don't know about the hair.
You know what, at this point in the film, yeah, the hair's fine.
It's a bit 80s permish, though, isn't it? Slightly.
Yeah.
She looks better after she's had a shower. Has she not been doing modelling for like Revlon and all that before the film?
Yeah, quite a bit of modelling. I think she'd also done an editorial in Playboy or something like that.
An editorial?
As a sort of guest editor for an issue.
Really? Yeah. She'd been in Lady in Red before with Gene
Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah.
The Woman in Red, yeah.
The Woman in Red, yeah. A film I've never seen.
No, me neither.
Apparently she gets naked in it, though.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
So she's standing there posing poutily, looking amazing. And then she comes out with that immortal line, "So, what do you little maniacs like to do first?"
It's odd watching that tonight, right? And when she says that line, my first thought was, is she Tim Curry's sister?
How would he say it? "So, what do you little maniacs like to do first?"
So, come up to the lab and see what's on the slab.
That first line, that first shot, slowly traveling up, and there she is, and she is. Let's be honest, she is that sort of teenage boy fantasy woman.
Still is. God almighty. Oh God, I'm 40 years old now, and I'm still thinking, God.
It's getting a little bit disturbing listening to you, actually.
Excuse me while I wipe up the dribble. What do they want to do? They shower.
Oh, they shower. Or rather, she showers and they just sort of stand there getting soaked.
It's like a scene out of the school showers, isn't it? You know, you go in with your shorts, stick your head under the water, then that'll do.
Yep. And hopefully the PE teacher won't stick his head around the door offering you a squirt of shower gel.
Was she like actually 30 years old at the time of filming?
She was 25.
25, right. How old were they in real life, I wonder?
Ooh, good
60s?
question. Yeah. They were roughly about the age they're supposed to be. The only one who stands out as being significantly older than you maybe think they are is Bill Paxton.
Really?
Who was 30 at that point.
All right, okay. In the film, he's supposed to be, what, early 20s?
Yeah. Well, we haven't met him, so let's.
Okay. So they'll have a shower. Then she looks down at them pretty disdainfully and goes, "We can have any kind of fun together." Looks down. "You're gonna have to loosen up." The camera pans down. You see them.
In their jeans.
Their jeans. White, still wearing the socks. Gary's got his trainers on.
He's got although I do notice Wyatt's got a gigantic hole in one of his socks. So.
Post shower, they've got ready for the night out, and they're wearing some very preppy togs, aren't they?
Hair gelled ridiculously. Yep, wearing
Sports
coat
coats
and
blazers.
Am I right in thinking that Wyatt says to Gary that he's wearing Chet's blazer?
Yeah, it looks like a private school blazer or something.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. And then weird, spooky, magical light electricity, and they're changed into some amazingly 80s casual suits.
Looking quite swish, I'll give them that.
It's just so achingly 1985, though, isn't it?
Yep.
With the ties and everything. Imagine going to a nightclub wearing a tie.
Not really.
It's like Michael Douglas going to the nightclub in Basic Instinct with his jumper on.
With a Pringle V-neck and nothing underneath it.
Oh, God. Even the scene in The Terminator, you know, when they go to, was it Tech Noir?
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone's dancing and shit. A lot of the guys are, like, still very formally dressed.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's one of those things, is like making a big deal out of it, but, you know, Tech Noir especially is
It's like an undergroundy sort of club, isn't it? American Psycho as well, when they go to Tunnel. Yeah, they go to Tunnel, and they're all still in their suit. It just seems very odd from today's perspective. So, Lisa's driving them in her pink convertible straight out of Barbie. So, off they go to the club.
Well, we say club.
Well, it's a bar, isn't it?
It's a dive bar, isn't it?
And again, it's very telling of John Hughes is that he picks this basically African American club as the place where white suburban boys are going to be terrified.
Yep.
So it's got black guys, Hispanics, and so here's these preppy white teens.
So
They're
out
terrified.
of place.
They're terrified.
It's that awkward moment.
At the same time, it is kind of a rite of passage for a young boy going into the older guy's bar and getting the scowls and trying to get accepted. I mean, we were lucky. We had the Harbour Bar. But for your average young pup sort of guy, you go into the bar and you get a lot of people looking at you like, who the fuck are you?
Oh, shut the fuck up, idiot. Get the fuck out, bastards.
That sense of going in somewhere and then the music stops.
So I guess it is a familiar enough experience.
Yeah, it's that feeling of being in danger, as Wyatt points out to Lisa. I don't
think we belong here.
We belong here, that's it.
Public place. It's just unfortunate that sense of discomfort is racially coded with John Hughes. You know, it could be a bunch of white working class guys playing pool, you know.
Yeah, it could just be like a Dockers bar or something like that. Yeah, and I think it gives this scene an awkwardness that stands out a lot more now, particularly once Gary gets drunk.
Actually, I like it once he gets drunk. Well, you know, apart from the jive sort of accent that he puts on. But like once they're all friends with each other, then you kind of think, you know, it seems much nicer. But there is that absolutely brilliant bit of dialogue from Gary. You know, he's going, you know, when he's sober, you know, they're all looking at him like, who the hell is this? And he's going, you know, listen to this blues music really reminds me of the trials and tribulations I went through as a young guy, and my parents dumped me. They really do. I say, you guys still live with your parents? And he's looking about, and these people are all aged like 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
I guess we all moved out by now, huh?
Sorry, but before that, though, we've missed one of the funny moments, or the funnier moments, I think, where Wyatt wanders into the toilet, sits down in the cubicle, and he doesn't see the pair of feet behind him, and it's just the line, "Oh, god damn!"
Yeah, you see them sitting around the table, and you got Dino. You've got a guy who looks a bit like James Earl Jones, and you know Gary's trying to be ingratiating. They pour him a drink.
Drink it.
And then Dino as well, the guy with the hat. Dino is Carl, school janitor from the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, yeah, so he is.
What are you doing with a malacca like him? The fuck's a malacca?
I don't know.
It's Greek for wanker.
Oh, is it?
And Dino's giving this brilliant laugh. So after that, you know, they're all hunky-dory. And he's going, Fats man, go tell my story.
Tell my story. Yeah, see now, I laugh, but it does feel awkward. There is a. It's just the way the accent he's putting on, and he suddenly thinks he's black. He suddenly thinks he's one of these guys.
Oh, he's cool. He's got that unlit cigar. He's got Dino's hat. He goes, I was crazy insane with this crazy little 8th grade bit. Crazy insane?
I was nuts for the woman.
And what did it to me?
These big titties she had.
I mean, she was set and looking good. Wouldn't have to worry about no titties for the rest of my life. I called every night for about a month.
On the telephone?
What?
On the telephone.
He went round for her. He called round at her house every day for a month.
That's psycho, that is.
No wonder he was getting beat up the whole time. That's well stalkerish, isn't it?
No, well, she did kick him in the nuts.
Well, at the end of the month, you'd be pretty pissed off, wouldn't you?
Probably lucky that that's all he got, to be honest. Family jewels.
The family jewels. She did what? Bitch need my nuts.
It's this pain. Oh,
Broke my heart in two.
broke on your heart.
Now we're doing the accents as well, huh?
Yeah, it's very hard, isn't it, to not get into that.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the fun. Bitch need your what? I love that guy. The guy who turned up later as the barman.
He's the threatening one out of this group, really, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's the one that you would not want to mess with. But he's clearly enjoying the fact that people are intimidated by him.
Yeah.
Particularly later on. And then, of course, Gary has a moment too many, and then time to leave, crashes on.
Party's over. Party's over, said the girl. And then the most ridiculous scene in the whole film, Wyatt's driving home.
Well, Gary's bladdered. I'm not sure how many Wyatt has actually had. He still seems fairly...
Well, you see him necking the booze as well. It's obviously implied that he's well drunk.
But then, so this is another one of those films that drink driving never seemed to be a big deal in, 70s, 80s, 60s. Yeah. At what point did it actually become, wait a minute, this is probably not a good thing to be doing?
Obviously, started to have campaigns against it in the same way that smoking gradually became taboo. It just seems, oh right, you're just going to drive home. All right, you park. Number one, you got a parking space outside the club.
Nobody stole your car.
Number two, this guy who's absolutely bladdered is going to drive home. Okay, fair enough. And he's only 15.
Yeah.
So they narrowly avoid having an accident, and Gary's giving it the all. Well, but that's a halfway embarrassed. But other than that, I'm perfect.
So they get back.
And we're introduced to Bill Paxton. He is just absolutely fucking brilliant in this film. I think
really
this is the best role in his entire career. Even better than Hudson.
Really? Oh, that's strong stuff indeed.
I mean, the absolute total relish with which he plays Chet is amazing.
He completely throws himself into that, and he's clearly enjoying himself.
He's loving every minute, isn't he?
Yep.
Apparently, he designed that haircut for Chet by himself.
Really?
The total
Thinking
flat tops with the slick back sides. Oh, God, he's just brilliant. Like, as soon as you see him, you're stewed, buttwad.
Time to pay the fiddler. And just shaking down his younger brother.
How much does he demand off him?
It was $175.00 cash, new bills, crisp and clean.
In his wallet by
7 a.m. Now, $175 in 1985? Again, this family is not exactly struggling for cash. And he's not, it's not even that, he's even considering making up some shit.
Great house though, isn't it? Fucking hell. The wood
fam.
panelling in the hallway, that Wyatt's head is rammed up against.
Yep.
They clamber up the stairs, Gary and Wyatt, trying to be quiet and go as you do when you're completely hammered.
Nothing louder than somebody trying to be quiet.
It reminds me of, see when me and Kenneth had quite recently started smoking dope, and we were sitting back at like his mum's old house.
Yeah.
And do you remember in Techie how you had to make a snake?
Yes.
For some reason, the snake was in his kitchen, and we were sitting there, and every time we looked at the snake's face, we just burst out laughing for like half an hour.
Oh, God.
What his mum must have thought, fucking hell. We were just sitting there, just in absolute hysterics.
Oh, what she had to put up with.
This gormless looking snake.
Probably there was a sense of, well, at least they're here.
At least they're safe. So, the big brother, obviously he can handle his booze. The booze hands return.
In Chet, obviously, there's a lot of the military stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is it established at some point that Chet is actually in the military, or does he just want to be?
I think he just wants to be.
Just wants to be, yeah. He goes out hunting, he's got the haircut, he's, Jeep, but...
I don't think a guy from that class background would be... Well, he could be in the military if he was in the officer training corps and all that jazz.
Yeah, does not strike me as that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's probably in finance, isn't he? Yeah. There is a slight touch of Patrick Bateman about him.
Yeah.
I imagine Chet would be pretty upset if he didn't get a table at Dorsia.
I can't imagine him in Dorsia. I can't imagine him going out to a restaurant.
He's obviously a bit of an alpha male, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, but in just such a ridiculous way. He just doesn't seem to be part of the same family, does he?
Well,
I'd love to know what his relationship is like with the parents.
His dad's got that sort of slicked back hair as well. Eh? So obviously, Chet is not impressed at these two drunken 15-year-olds clambering up the stairs and starts to insult them. You two dorky dicks couldn't get laid in a morgue.
In a morgue.
Breathing cigar smoke at them.
Oh.
And he does that wonderful line. How about a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?
It's just there then Gary's finger just appears out the bottom of frame and playing with his lip.
Apparently Bill Paxton's dad used to say that to him, about the greasy pork sandwich when Bill Paxton was hungover.
Okay.
Just to try and make him puke.
That would do the job, because if you're in that kind of state, that and the cigar smoke would do it. Just got to say this again, Bill Paxton, he is just so fantastic in this. It's perfect assholery. It really is. This is the guy who, am I right in thinking he's the only actor to have been killed by a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator?
That is right. Yeah. What a claim of fame, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, he's wonderful. No, it's a bold statement to say he's better than this than his Hudson role. It's just fucking amazing. He's so good in that.
Yeah, the gung-ho dickhead, but getting more and more terrified and losing it as it goes on.
Yeah, he's got so many great lines in Aliens as well. Has an oven in here. Yeah, but it's a dry heat.
That's a great line.
Or, Vasquez, you ever get mistaken for a man? No. Do you?
Do you?
Bill Paxton does his pretending to vomit thing.
Yeah, that's an odd little thing he does.
You wonder what the fuck he's doing at the time. And his cheeks are bulging out. And then he laughs and he sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he does it.
This weird sort of inhaling laugh.
It's a bit like Eddie Murphy as well.
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
Have you watched Raw or Delirious?
Not for years.
If you get past all the industrial scale homophobia and misogyny, they're still really funny. So somehow Wyatt is still able to stand up, sneaks out.
This is an odd little scene. It's kind of sweet, but at the same time, I don't know, this is the moment, I think, where it's the relationship between Lisa and the boys goes from what they think that it was going to be, or what they wanted it to being something different. It's the moment where she goes from being this sort of sex object to being almost like a bigger sister.
But, I mean, if the scene wasn't there, then you wouldn't have seen her do anything sexual or, physical with them at any point. At some point, they've got to do something.
Yeah. And I suppose this is the closest it comes. Actually, the closest it comes is probably the scene we don't see, which happens after this.
The women's gymnastics.
Her gymnastics routine that he passed out halfway through, or fell asleep halfway through, but yet he ends up wearing her outfit.
It's interesting because she's very much teaching him how to kiss, isn't she?
Bugger tried to slip her the tongue.
She had to tell him, do that again, I'm going to kick your arse.
I like what you think this film's going to be about, and then the relationship between the three of them it's quite sweet.
The whole point of the film is the improvement of these two boys.
Yeah.
Somebody who comes along, grants their wishes, but makes them grow up and enables them to unleash their potential, you might say.
Yes, exactly. Gets them out of themselves.
This sort of magical figure who can come along and transform you. You know?
I thought the last time I'd seen this a few years ago that I'd had this sudden brainstorm and just like, oh my god, she's Mary Poppins. And then it was yourself who pointed out, yeah, she said herself she was Mary Poppins with tits in an interview. I was like, oh, look at that. Staring me in the face, and I'd never really twigged it. For years I was watching it thinking, this is either just she's got weird powers or she's a witch. And oh no, this is a weird version of Mary Poppins.
It is, isn't it? There's quite a few. It's a common trope, isn't it? There's somebody who comes along, turns things around for you. You know, it's the fairy godmother thing, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. And it explains, anything that weird or unusual that happens can just be explained. Oh, she's got powers.
Has the magic, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you have to remember how terrifying girls are for boys at that age, you know.
Oh, I can remember all too well.
It's the desire and the lust and everything, but the fear as well is so strong that you just don't know how. You wonder how. What do you do? There's no manual.
Well, this is it. And I mean, I was so terrified of even talking to girls. That's how bad I was as a teen.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll remember this.
I remember exactly how bad you were.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, even in primary school, I would blush red if girls spoke to me. It's very easy to dismiss this film as wish fulfillment, yada yada, but it's not a sort of in a cheap way. I think it's in a quite sensitive way. I think it's quite an intelligently and sensitively done sort of thing. It is wish fulfillment. It is a fairy tale, but so Cinderella.
Well, yeah.
All these myths are pointing at something very true and heartfelt in the human experience.
There's a lot of sense in this stuff. A lot of, you should just be yourselves. Don't try and be something you're not. Don't.
I mean, if you compare this to Pretty Woman is just it's the Cinderella myth, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah, of course. Yeah. I want the fairy tale.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, we move on to the next morning.
Oh, that brilliant use of tubular bells.
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's very low down in the mix as well.
I just absolutely love the way as well that visual joke of Wyatt. You see his trainers at the bottom of the bed, and he lifts up the blanket, and it's his head, and the trainers are just propped up there. That's so good. But yeah, the use of the song is just excellent.
Something weird happened here.
Yeah. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah, everything's fixed.
Gary with his head over the bed. Why? Where are you? What happened? I don't know.
And then the idea of a shared dream.
Let's analyse this. Did I get up in the middle of the night and yak in your sink?
Yak in your sink. Now, presumably that's cleaned up. Must have been this shared, weird, bizarre, vivid, erotic, wet, detailed dream.
Maybe they have malaria. Then Wyatt gets up.
Yep. And it's a great visual gag, that one.
Then Lisa's down in the kitchen, shouts them for breakfast, and you get that breaking the fourth wall, looking at the camera.
Yeah, I think, does everyone break the fourth wall at some point in this film? I mean, certainly the three main ones I'm sure do.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody else.
Don't think Bill Paxton does. I don't think. And obviously Ferris Bueller, it happens quite a bit. I'm not sure if it happens in Breakfast Club, though.
I don't think so. I think Breakfast Club's sort of taken in a more serious vein, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're down next morning having breakfast in the kitchen. Lisa's got those lovely big jammies on.
Oh, yeah.
And jammies. Oh, there's something just very charming about an attractive woman in a pair of overly large pyjamas.
Or an oversized shirt.
Yes, indeed. So she goes out. The instant Bill Paxton wanders in wearing just a towel.
It's odd. As soon as he walks in wearing a towel, I keep thinking, I know where the scene's going. Why is he wearing a towel?
And then he cracks that egg off the ceiling.
Yep.
Dick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Into the pan. Make yourself one.
Dickweed. Like your pennies.
That's something. That's something else I've got to say here. Bill Paxton's double takes this film are fucking superb. That is not a joke. That is a severe behavioural disorder. Those are women's underpants.
Next thing you know, you're going to be wearing a bra on your head. Then again, the look to the camera. Yeah.
So was it cost him his VCR for openers?
How much would a VCR cost in those days? £1,500, £1,000.
In the States, few hundred anyway.
Can't mind.
Sorry, here we go. A brand new top of the line NEC brand VCR was about $570 in 1985.
In 85, right?
Yeah.
So that would be about £1,000 now, give or take.
Probably, I'm not sure.
Let's say about that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So then you've got that great scene, Bill Paxton's, Christ's sake, Weed, cover yourself.
Yep. And he's got a buff ass, It's a good ass.
He's trying not to laugh as well. Like,
Yeah.
Nearly all the time that they're in scenes together, you can see Wyatt just trying not to laugh.
There's at least one scene later on where Gary clearly cracking up. I don't think it's the character. I think it's Auntie Michael Hall is cracking up. And off to the mall. It's an 80s movie. There's got to be a mall.
And they've decided to go shopping separately. So then we're with Lisa, who's shopping for some lingerie.
Underwear. And sadly, we never see her wearing them.
With the old lady serving her.
The mum from American Gothic.
Oh, yeah, very much. She goes, do you have it in leather or rubber or barbed wire?
Give me a break.
Barbed wire, fucking hell. It's the way she says it, though.
I know. The barbed wire, brah. Jesus.
So, yeah, they're at the mall, and we see Max and Ian and Deb and Hilly standing, looking down.
In so many ways.
At poor Gary and White, who take a seat below them.
Ian and Max, who are a loathsome pair. Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah,
Apparently Downey Jr. was as much of a dick off-screen as he was on-screen. If you've got a drink and drug problem, quite a few stories come out of it about this film, taking a shit in other cast members' trailers.
Yeah. It's like the biker chick,
Oh, yeah.
apparently, who invades the house, the biker gang.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She got a trailer?
I don't know. That was the story.
Okay. So we've got them being assholes to their girlfriends as well.
Noticeably, Deb and Hilly are, what are you going to do?
I don't think I'd ever really thought about this before. I mean, at least the film kind of makes clear from this scene why Deb and Hilly are with them. They are with them for the social status.
Yeah, that becomes clear in the conversation afterwards.
They're kind of getting what Gary and Wyatt are looking for, but the price they're paying is kind of...
It's too much.
It's too much, yeah. I mean, because they are just dicks.
So yeah, the slushies dumped on them. The whole mall everyone's laughing at them, except Deb and Hilly nobly are unamused. There's not much background about Deb and Hilly's people, is there? We don't really get much feeling of who they are, apart from the fact that they're nice.
They are nice. They're quite bland.
We don't have anything to go on, do we?
Not really. No, they're tired with what they're putting up with. They want to be popular.
Yeah, you get that conversation, do you want to dump them? There's trouble in paradise. They're just nice. They're not dicks like their boyfriends. And, they're very good looking.
Oh, yeah.
So Max and Ian come up and they do that sort of begging dance, which is pretty funny, actually.
In the background.
And then, they're forgiven. Then they're going up the escalator. We've got Dave Lee Roth doing Pretty Woman.
I think it depends which version of the film you're watching.
There are versions where it plays Weird Science.
Yeah, it must feel like they do that song to death during some versions of this film.
Anyway, so yeah, they're on the escalator. They're going down, and Lisa's going up.
And they're smitten.
See them clambering over. She's got that jacket on with just a bra underneath.
Is it just a sort of stripped T-shirt? Just over her boobs?
Yeah. And then she walks by, and then there's the group called, was it the Dweebies?
The Weenies, I think it is.
Weenies, who we learn more about, well, we would have learned more about in the bits that they cut.
Indeed. Yeah, the other scene that got chopped.
Yeah, because they were basically the friends of Gary and Wyatt, weren't they?
Well, supposedly. There's no sense that they have any other friends.
But they're sort of like their social level.
Yeah.
Because as Max and Ian run by, they slap all of them on the way.
Bonk, 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 bonk.
So they come out, Robert Downey Jr. wearing those shorts, Mike.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, as soon as you see the shorts, you think, oh, good, what?
Is this his first film?
No, he'd been in a handful of films before this. A couple when he was really young, because his dad was an actor, stroke director, I think, as well. Robert Downey. can't think of any films he'd been in before this. And obviously afterwards he had a mixed career up until Marvel came a-calling.
They hail down Lisa. We saw you looking at us. And, she's just so dismissive.
She's completely disinterested. I mean, it makes it a really awkward scene. Long pauses because she is just not engaging. Yeah, you were looking at us. Uh-huh. And? So
what are you doing? Waiting for my ride. Along comes Wyatt. Oh no, it's Gary trying to drive.
Yeah.
And they seem dumbstruck to Max and Ian. And then she's kissing him into the car. And he's going, she likes the rough stuff.
The look on their faces is just something to behold. What the fuck? And the first mention of the party.
Lisa mentions there's a party on. You can find them in the student directory. And obviously there wasn't social media.
Nope, of course. But there was a student directory where you could find out where everybody lives.
Handy, that.
Yeah, I don't remember one of those in Bucky High.
So, then they're back at White's house. Lisa's getting everything ready for the party with her weird magical powers.
Indeed.
And her outfit here, that big hair, she looks like Axl Rose in Welcome to the Jungle.
In the black fingerless gloves.
That's a lovely dining room, though, isn't it?
Yep.
And White's got that lovely cable knit jumper as well.
It's the point where she tells him you're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 unless you learn to relax.
If you want to be a party animal, you have to learn to live in the jungle. She goes off to meet Gary. Now, this bit it's a bit odd as well, because it's very class conscious, isn't it?
Very, yes.
And am I wrong, but do I feel disdain towards Al for being a plumber? Or
I think so.
Or that Gary comes from a poorer background, it's very blue collar.
There's certainly a sense of it being not as great or not as good. Wyatt's life is better.
Well, exactly. Money is better. That's a pretty dodgy philosophy to be espousing.
It's that American thing, isn't it?
Well, obviously it's materialistic. That's what materialism is. I just find it odd and wrong, basically.
It's slightly odd, but that sense that she's walked into Married with Children.
Oh,
the fact is Al is kind of...
There is a lot of Al Bundy about him, isn't there?
I'm not sure what her game is at this point. What is she trying to achieve at this point? I mean, have the parents get a sense of what it is they're stopping Gary from being able to do, or is it to get Gary to stand up for himself?
It's just terrifying his parents. It's like saying, parents, this is what I really want, but I'm too scared to do. I want to say that to all these parties, that I've got this wild girlfriend, that I'm not just tossing off in bathrooms.
But he hasn't had a girlfriend, or...
That's what he so desperately wants. He wants to say to his folks, just fuck you. They're so proud of him studying. He gets good grades, but they never thank him, so kind of implicit that that's what he wants as well.
But just the look of her and the stuff she comes out with just to shock them. Just that line about sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chain whips. Not talking candle wax on the nipples. Just the kids running around in their underwear.
And the way she jabs her finger on his chest.
Don't threaten me, Al.
You're out of shape. I'll kick your ass. The way she says ass. It's wish fulfillment. That's what Gary wants. He wants someone to come along, defend him, and attack his parents. Not physically, but just say, stop being a dick to Gary. He's a good kid.
But the thing is, up until the point where she starts laying into them, I didn't get a sense that they were shit to him. I mean, the mum seems nice enough. The dad...
When they're talking about where they're going to be going, he goes, where do you think you're going? And then they start panicking, and then they're not really going to be letting him go. He's saying to a movie, she's saying to a party. So obviously they're very concerned about where he might be going. Probably not going to let him. So they all start shouting at each other, and you see Gary with his hand gestures. I never does off.
It's just that, hopefully not saying too much here, there's something, surely we can all identify with the revelation to the parents that you've been locking yourself in the bathroom, tossing off to magazines. It's just the line from the mum. There's water running all day.
Oh, constipation, is it? Oh, you're just stuck in there.
That's the runs. You've probably heard me from down here.
See, that's why everyone needs their own bathroom.
That privacy.
When you think about it, even in Roseanne, Becky and Darlene have got their own bathroom, and so do Dan and Roseanne.
Okay.
And that's the most blue-collar family you can think of.
Yeah.
So the parents call the police, and what does Lisa do? She pulls a gun.
That's an odd... Is it a step too far, pulling out a gun?
Oh, it's a squirt gun.
Yeah, I know that. It's an uncomfortable moment, I think.
It's partly the fact that Lisa's drawn it. It's cartoonish rather than genuinely violently threatening. And Gary's expression is great. You know, that goggle-eyed look, eyeballs maxed.
Yeah, Andy Michael Hall gives a really good startled, shocked, wide-eyed.
Go ahead.
Make your day.
So we're back at White's house, ready for the party. Gary's pouring himself Coke into a brandy balloon. Lisa looks like she's got amaretto. And then bing bong. I love the way you see everyone's face. Then all the way back, end of the road.
Yep. Parties like this ever happen anywhere other than teen movies? No,
I don't.
okay. Just clear on that. I wasn't sure if I just missed out on a lot when I was growing up. I mean, I did.
No, it's idealised.
It is. But you could be forgiven for thinking that American teens are always having these sorts of parties.
Like in Team Roof as well, when they're doing all the dares. And
Oh, God, yeah. In the cupboard and the whole thing.
And,
Gets a keg.
yeah, you have to bring a keg of beer. Oh, right, so 88 pints. Oh, yeah, no bother.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the party, just great. The room full of food, and then in an instant it's gone.
Oh, the locust.
Music's playing, pillow fight, cushion fight. You can hear the noises of glasses breaking. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Somebody's drawn moustaches on the family portrait.
And then Max and Ian and Deb and Hilly turn up fashionably late.
Of course. How you doing? Hey, where's the bar?
God, their outfits are just so 85, aren't they? They've got all these things pinned onto their jackets. You can smell the hairspray from here, can't you?
Can. Yeah, it's been styled to within an inch of its life. It's so free. They're going to embarrass us tonight. Yep.
And Lisa's going round. She's got that lovely silver dress with the zip undone down the back.
Oh, yeah.
And where are Gary and Wyatt?
Hiding
They're in the Jan. What you might also notice when Wyatt's sitting on the toilet is next to him is a copy of Playboy, which was the one that Kelly LeBrock was in.
I didn't know that. I saw the Playboy. I didn't realise that she was in that one. And then, I'm sorry, but you're talking about farting. Float an air biscuit. Lay wolf bait.
Yeah.
He's got a touch of IBS or something.
I just love the way, also, just more broadly, that here they are, they've finally got what they want, and they cannot handle it, and they're hiding.
They're hiding from their own party.
Obviously, be careful of what you wish for, but if you get too soon, then you can't handle it. Then back at the party, Max and Ian up to the bartender.
Oh, he's got one of the best lines.
One of the best lines of the whole film. Scotch, straight up? Yeah, give me the whole bottle. Tell me what, you bend over and I'll shove it straight up your ass.
Oh, the rocks is fine. Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say.
His eyes widening as he says it with complete relish. I love the way that Max and Ian go to give him the high five and it doesn't take them on. So they spot Lisa. They're obviously still intent.
Yep. And the girls realise that, what is it,
No.
if they see her, it's game over.
Doesn't say much about what Lisa might think, but never mind.
And the other thing is, like, they could actually get her as well.
But now she's responding a bit, eh? Robert Downey Jr. with that sultry look, which has been repeated in GIFs all over the internet.
His baby eyes, isn't he?
Yeah.
Baby face thing, the innocent.
His cutesy come hither look. And then back with Gary and Wyatt. And then Deb and Hilly, and they're coming up to the bathroom. This scene is so great as well. They knock at the door, and Gary's face is just brilliant. He's kind of trying to be cool. Slams the door on them. You hear him shouting,
Fire!
"A match, I don't know." Opens the door again.
While he's having awkward conversation, and then just the sudden appearance of a burning paper.
What are you guys doing in there? Gary was just taking a shit.
I love that, the way he just completely shoves it onto Gary.
But the whole fast cutting and fast jumping and then the slap, when you compare it to The Breakfast Club, the directing style is so much more kinetic and energetic. It's not zany, but it's such a different style.
Well, it's a much more energetic film, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because this is much more of a comedy, whereas Breakfast Club is a drama with some fake elements. It's a very different style. But that's the thing. It's the same director doing two completely different same year. God knows what kind of time frame he was working to on these.
Apparently, he only got to do Breakfast Club if he did this. Well, that's the story. So eventually, the girls that get invited into the bathroom, then they're just hanging out there awkwardly.
Or isn't it? They really and they want to be hanging out with.
Yeah.
But even in this situation, they still have to bullshit. We have these weekly. Oh, you guys been here before? So many people, so many parties.
That's it. They're still trying to impress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's wrong with your face?
Oh, so gauche, yeah. So gauche.
Introduce themselves and just have a wee bit of chat, you know.
And then a bit after that, they say, "Could you excuse us, please?" Then they go into the shower.
Into the shower cubicle.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they have the brilliant mouths-only conversation.
The dragnet conversation.
Yeah. They slide up the shower door, and then what is it supposed to be?
It's the worst thing that they could possibly suddenly be looking at are two fat girls. Or
Like schoolgirls.
awkward.
It's pretty random.
It's not particularly funny.
So back at the party, the girls meet Lisa, and they said, "Have you met Gary and Wyatt?"
Shout with them. It's a mind scrambler.
Okay, sure.
Fair enough.
So the grandparents come in.
Oh yeah, very white, waspy, patrician.
The restaurant could practically be the one from Blues Brothers, couldn't it? It's very similar. Doesn't he have anything to read?
But you know, Henry, there's nothing more important to a teenage boy than his grandparents.
And the party's going full swing now. We've got 80s by Killing Joke, the intro for
This very podcast.
They're in Wyatt's bedroom. You know, it's about respect, loyalty, and the time that we've been together. So we'll make a deal with you. You give us a crack at Lisa, we'll give you a crack at Dem and Hilly.
You guys deserve them.
We like your style.
Yeah, just the whole thing about their feelings for Lisa run deep and all this, and then how about we just swap them? Of
You guys keep a secret?
course they can.
Secret? Sure. There's all four of them with bras on head.
I feel like an asshole.
So Max and Ian both go, bigger tits.
Give them the knee shooters.
They're going for total bazongas, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. God knows what they would have ended up with.
Like Lola Ferrari.
Lola Ferrari, yeah.
Oh my god. And Lisa knows what's going on.
She starts to work it out. That's the moment with the grandparent.
Well, no, she goes outside and spots
Oh, no, you're right.
spots the red sky, the
Yeah.
ominous lightning.
Yeah, she realizes, oh God, this is this is out of my hands now. They're doing something ridiculous.
And then presses enter, then everything just goes,
I'm
yeah.
shitting in my pants.
I love the way you see Wyatt's parents in the picture, the portrait.
Start dancing.
Then they start dancing.
The guys who end up trapped in the TV
Yeah, the kitchen just turns blue.
don't really pay much attention. The girl playing the piano doesn't seem to notice all the furniture's zipping away. And then the gratuitous titty shot.
Apparently she was a Playboy playmate.
Ah, well, there you go. You see,
Yeah.
she can play.
Well, she can play, yeah. Yeah, she did her own stunts as well. That was her boinged into the water.
Oh, good God. Okay.
Yeah, so they think it's worked. Lisa's there, silhouette, backlit, can't see her.
Yeah.
So step forward, switch on the light, and then boom, nothing. Well, no change.
And then she has her speech. Show off. People like you for what you are, not for what you can give them. In your race for power and glory, you forgot one small detail.
We forgot to hook up the doll.
You forgot the doll.
This just frankly incredible shot of a fucking nuclear missile coming up through the floor, through the carpet, through the ceiling, through the roof, and then a pigeon lands in it.
I like that imagery there of a white dove sitting on top of a nuclear missile. That's quite a nice little juxtaposition. But supposedly they had to reshoot that because do thingy it backwards because somebody kept farting and ruining the shot.
Anthony Michael Hall.
And then of course the grandparents turn up. I have a feeling we won't approve, Henry. Oh, they're so fantastic. This pair.
Yeah, so they're like busting in. He's got his tweed jacket and bow tie on his. And then Lisa, of course, takes charge. Shouldn't be beating up people with your Rex Harrison hat. Is it the hat from My Fair Lady?
It could be. This is just the line, I'm not going to listen to this baloney. He won't, you know. He doesn't stand for baloney. Grandma's teeth appear to be trying to escape from her mouth. She's got these huge teeth.
And then I'll just be a minute. Goes and fetches them. And then the look on Gary and White's face.
Oh, God, yeah.
So down to the kitchen. Everything's blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa's got all the blue food, and then it's around the cupboard.
The looks on their faces. And again, it looks like the teeth are escaping from Grandma's mouth.
The look of horror and disgust on Gary's face is just brilliant.
Oh,
He does that fucking brilliantly, yeah. And they manage to stay really, really still, don't they, the grandparents?
they're rigid.
When you compare it to Singing in the Rain, there's scenes supposed to be like fashion shots, and God, you can totally see them moving. So Gary White not able to handle it. So Lisa thinks they need a challenge.
Yeah, something that'll bring out their inner strength and courage.
Ah, yeah. The biker gang from hell burst through the windows, which you can see are already smashed if you play it slowly. And of course, we have the Lord General, Vernon Wells.
Yeah, Wes himself from Mad Max 2 wearing pretty much the same outfit. Just before he went, I was going to say before he went Commando, but that's not quite right. Went to perform in Commando as Bennett.
The campest villain in any film ever.
I don't need a gun, John. And Michael Berryman from Hills Have Eyes with his unique... oh, God.
Oh, The Hills of Eyes is very much one of those film boxes which used to give me the fear, but totally drawn towards them.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, not a good film.
It's really disturbing. I mean, that film does not hold back in terms of what it does to that family. Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I just thought it was far too slow moving at the start. Wes Craven, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What, a couple of years before Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, Hills Have Eyes would have been about 77, 78 maybe. 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street was 84. Michael Berryman was also, just about this time, he played a headmaster or a teacher of some kind in the Motley Crue video for Smoking in the Boys' Room, in which he has the world's worst wig.
I can imagine that would look very odd, a wig on him.
Yeah, he looks very, very bizarre in it. You know, obviously taking the piss out of teachers, which is funny because later on he says how he doesn't want to lose his teaching job.
Watching it tonight, and I was thinking, is that possibly the best line in the film? Just keep this between ourselves. I'd hate to lose my teaching job. God bless.
The bikers are rampaging through the house. We learn what Max and Ian are actually made of here. They're cowards.
Yep. Girls, schmirls.
Of course, Gary White's first instinct is to hide in a cupboard.
Yep. Not going to stand up to it. Nope. Bravery is an outdated concept.
Yeah, so in comes the Lord General with his biker chick from hell. And he's got that stripe across his face. He's got that weird shotgun. He does that scream with animal voices imposed on it.
Proceeds to completely tear them down. The most embarrassing stuff that he can come out with.
And interestingly, there was a line that was cut from the TV versions as well. Because when he says, tossed off to any good books recently, that's not in the TV versions that I first saw.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, so when I first saw that, I never knew he said that. Oh, my God.
So when Lisa goes to see Gary's parents, the bit about tossing off, was that in it?
Yes, that was in it, yeah.
It seems odd that they...
I guess it was less fundamental to the story. So, he was insulting them. You can't even have a shower with a beautiful woman without wearing your jeans. But they managed to overcome.
Yeah, it's just that realization, right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
We're going to just do it. If we're going to die, we're going to kick ass.
Yeah.
That inevitably means the gun comes out again.
They let go of the girls. The bikers head back off. Gary's going, we're heroes. Ice. Where'd you get that gun? Squirting. Shoots it off.
That's the thing. It's so it's an actual gun at that point. Where was Lisa going with this then? That's what I'd like to know. What was she prepared to do at this point or let him do?
Let's not get too logical about it,
I mean, I think in terms of some sort of internal logic here, there needs to be something.
I mean, the joke is that they thought it was a squirt gun, and it's not. It was a real gun.
Yeah, even though it was a squirt gun when you thought it was a real gun, now you think it's a squirt gun. And I'd love to know what she would have done if they hadn't stepped up. How far was she prepared to go? Were they in any real danger during this? I mean, there's that one guy who gets a mace in the nuts.
Yeah, he's the only one that's actually hurt, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one who actually suffers there. Then you've got the great leaving bit from the gang, as we already said.
Yeah.
Can we keep this between us?
Yeah.
And then the other guy, I'm terribly sorry. Call me. We'll have lunch.
Yeah, beg your pardon. You have a lovely house.
And then, of course, that's it for the party. Then it's just dying down, and they have their moments with Deb and Hilly.
After this, the tone of the film changes quite a bit, doesn't it?
I kind of feel like the film starts to drag a bit after this. End scenes with Chet, I think.
Oh, yeah, it slows down. It becomes the romance between the boys and Deb and Hilly. I mean, it's sweet enough. The chat with Gary as well, and he's got this great line, Lisa was what I wanted before I even knew what I wanted.
What is it? Lisa
Yeah,
is
that's
everything
really
I
good.
ever wanted in a girl before I knew what I wanted. Hell, that's a smooth line.
And if I could do it again, I'd do it just like you.
But really, what do we know about her? What does he know about her?
I
What-
guess
what-
that's why these scenes are slower. You know, it's implied that they've been talking for a long time, been up all night.
I guess so, yeah.
Finally having real conversations. But
Yeah.
with the restrictions of the film, we only see that for a minute or two. So,
True.
yeah. Aye. So next morning, Bill Paxton comes in after his duck hunt.
His duck hunt.
Lisa's there, feet up with her stockings on.
It's the
Yeah.
final challenge for him.
The house is an absolute disaster.
And this
You know,
this is the bit where he goes what we were talking about earlier about Bill Paxton's reaction shots. Right. When he goes into his room and it's snowing, that's something. But it's when he goes into Wyatt's room and he clocks the missile. And he doesn't do, it's not a double take. It's not a triple take. He does a quadruple take. That missile that is just fantastic. He pulls is just incredible.
fantastic.
As Gary's lying there with Deb.
It's got this rifle, which is obviously very soft.
Yes, it does bend a little bit. When he
bends.
clocks. One part I was sitting here was so they have just cuddled up and gone to sleep. I mean, they haven't got laid at this point, have they? They're too gentlemanly for that.
Yeah.
Everyone's fully clothed, so
Yeah.
we'll err on the side of polite. Only 15, so.
Oh, yeah. Chet's through Chloe, like their sister that we never see.
It's the weird one that, yeah, she gets mentioned once. We see
Yeah.
her room, which looks like it's a young girl's bedroom.
Oh, no, it's a horsey girl.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of horsey girls,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, okay. It looked like a child's bedroom to me.
Well,
But yeah, she's getting married, so that's the reason the parents are away, isn't it? To meet the future in-laws.
yeah, and Chet's got him in a headlock, and White's going, I'll give you my college fund, my social security.
Yeah, college money and social security. Is there anything else he tells him he'll give him?
No, I think that's it. But college fund, thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Aye. So then they're back down in the blue kitchen.
And he meets Lisa,
Yeah,
and he's just,
so belligerent.
yep. I didn't think it was the whale's dick, honey. But it's where she calls him Chip and the whole bit about the whale's dick, and you can see Anthony Michael Hall cracking up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, as you say, hi, Nanny, hi, Grampy. That, again, it's just, he doesn't even need to say anything. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, the double take, yeah.
Catatonic in the closet.
Then he pulls the ultimate atomic wedgie.
Oh.
Boy, I wouldn't give a square of piss for your ass right now.
And then leaving him alone with Lisa, thinking, oh, he just becomes so seedy.
Yeah, I'd like to butter her muffin.
We get that moment. It's like, why must you be such a wanker? Because I get off on it.
And he's going, hit me with your best shot. The grin.
Oh, if you thought he had a wide grin at that point, that it just cuts, so something good's going to happen.
But she's like, I want you to leave Gary and Wyatt alone. I want you to treat them with dignity and respect. No, there she is, sorting out their lives again for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mary Poppins.
Yep. And then then they drop the girls off home. We've got a wee car chase. Kind of a precursor to the race home in Ferris Bueller, I think. But
Yeah, but it's like the one fast-paced bit in the last third of the film, I guess.
yeah. And then, of course, you get the final bit with Gary's parents.
That was Gary. Who was this Gary character?
I hope once all this is over, he gets his memory back. Because can you imagine if he's stuck like that?
Yeah, who are you? Why are you in my house? And then Wyatt drops off Hilly. It's interesting, this sort of dichotomy. It's like the blonde hair couple are sort of fast and flashy, and then the brunette couple are sort of more romantic. Interesting. Probably total bollocks, but it's interesting how they play that.
Oh, wow.
Aye, yeah, and it gives it a nice squeegee in the bum.
Fingers crossed, though,
Yeah.
in case he's going too far.
Yeah, but now he's learned how to do it, yeah?
Yep.
He's had lessons.
Yeah.
So then Gary's dropping off Deb, and then we get the moral. He's learned. He's grown. Yeah,
Oh,
he's not really this cool. You know, he's fessing up. That's not his car. It's not his clothes.
But she kind of knew that, didn't she?
Well, I mean, she knew that they'd made Lisa because he told her. So, yeah, the moral of the story. So Gary fesses up, says he's not that cool. It's not his suit. It's not his Ferrari. So do you think Deb might be like, oh, I'm actually washing my hair next week?
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't blame her.
Oh, you don't have a Porsche.
Yeah.
No,
I've just remembered. Yeah, I'm busy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's much sweeter than that, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So now they're like the final hurdle, the final thing to deal with is Chet.
That problem's kind of already been sorted.
But he's the last thing remaining.
And-
He's just become this hideous swamp monster. He's just pustulant and he's still got the flat top. It's wonderful.
Top, he's got the grin. He's got the eyes. He still looks like Bill.
See the way that there are bits.
Farting noises.
Yeah, the short, fat arms.
There were two dwarves inside that costume working the whole thing. It was meant to be Bill Paxton, but he just couldn't get it to.
Right. Oh, he does the voice so well.
Yeah, when he's like, it's done out of love.
Such a bastard, isn't he?
Yeah.
And she's got that great line, just for that hour, to give you a set of elephant balls.
It's the reaction to that.
No. And he slaps his head. So the boys arrive back at the same time. They're in love. It's the great. It's the best. They go into the house, the cars disappear. And then into the hallway. And then you see his legs as well.
It's just completely. They're not useful for anything, these legs.
Oh, my.
He's like a sort of. What is he supposed to be? He's just a blob. Just manky. It's horrible. It's so funny.
See him from the back as well, and he looks even worse. It's like he's got all these.
He's got a sort of armadillo-like back or something.
Yeah, it's all these fat blubbery bits, and he goes,
Oh my god!
See the fly. The way his face moves as well is so fucking well done.
Yes.
Yeah, the tongue zaps out, and then oh my god. Yeah, then we're back to the bedroom. We see Lisa, and she's become rather matronly. I don't want to say big sisterly.
So a slight sort of aunt. Look to her. She could be a teacher or something.
Yeah, your favourite hottest teacher. Sort of look to him. And that great line from White, we can't have Chet like that. Ruin Christmas. He's still a dork at the end of it.
And then you've got that lovely little scene where they have with Lisa where she's saying goodbye and they talk about you met two girls and fell in love. They fell in love with you. That's all I ever wanted for you. It's like, yeah, well, sure, I'm hurt. But because that's what she was created for, was to be there for them. But she was created for, so she's got that love for them, but she kind of realised maybe that what they needed was was not her, it was...
Right, yeah. So it's the sacrifice. She's a Jesus figure.
Well, I mean, let's not think about this too deeply, because if she was created to be the sexual fantasy stroke plaything of two 15-year-old boys, the fact that the next thing we see of her is as a gym teacher in the high school is maybe not the greatest. Where the hell is this going?
So yeah, we get the moral of the story. You guys have straightened out, found two girls. Yeah.
I've had a wonderful time.
And then, I just absolutely love this bit when all the furniture starts reassembling.
Yeah, that's so well done. The way that everything is. Well, because the majority of it, I suppose, is just shot backwards. First, have everything come back in.
Yeah.
Although, given that it's broad daylight, to shot everything out the chimney, etc. again,
Yeah, or
all
did
that
they
to
did they
suit
just do a filter to make
I
it
don't
look like
think
night?
so. No, I think it's definitely well dark at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. You can
Um,
usually tell in a film when they're just using a filter to make it look like nighttime. Like when Life of Brian, when he's painting the wall with the Romani's,
yeah.
yeah, it's like you can see the shadows from the daytime.
In Moonlight, it's a very strong filter.
Yeah, you get all the furniture reassembling to the wonderful sounds of the overture from Mozart's The Magic Flute.
Ah, I see.
That's the first bit of Mozart that I'd ever heard. And I've always, always, always loved this bit of music.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Okay, perfect.
It works absolutely wonderfully, I think. You know, the sense of delight and pleasure, no, not pleasure, the sense of delight and joy that comes from it is just fabulous.
And the timing of it, just that final bit as well.
Yeah, yeah,
It's literally slotted back into place.
yeah.
I would love
And
to think that there's just one thing, like it didn't remove moustaches in the family portrait, or the grandparents are still in the cupboard.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, don't see what happens there, do we?
Well, we don't see what happens to them. We don't know. Do they suddenly have their memories wiped?
So yeah, you see the parents just coming back after their weekend away, key in the door, and then just as they come in the house, the final table shifts back into place.
Did I just see something move? No.
So the boys come down. Then Wyatt hugs his mum. Dad's like, no, no, no. Funnily enough, right, this scene here, when the mum says, Daddy had this crazy notion you guys might have a party or do something nutty. For years and years, I had this on tape, right? Off of TV, obviously, as everyone did. Yeah.
Yep.
But it ended at that precise moment when she said, Daddy had a crazy notion you might go throw a party, because I taped over it with Guns N' Roses live at the New York Ritz.
Suddenly,
Yeah. Well, what happened was I was watching it on TV, and then my mum suddenly said, "You should be taping this." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." So I was like, "Oh, right, I'll put it on the end of Weird Science." And then I was like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll just do it right now. Can't wait." Yeah. Because it was like 3 songs in already. Yeah.
So you got that, but you lost the sight of Lisa.
So it would go from that to like the end of Sweet Child of Mine. I've always associated Weird Science with Guns N' Roses in my mind because of that. So yeah, there's just that great bit about what do you guys do all weekend? Yeah, just hung around the house. Yeah, the look. Yeah, no, it's not here. No way.
They have to pack a lot into basically 2 days, don't they?
Yeah, a full 2 days, isn't it? So next day, back at school, Shermer High.
Their school.
Huh?
So surely at some point she's going to end up teaching them for gym class. Come on, I mean the chances have got to be fairly high they'll bump into her at school.
Darren, this is just like the car taking off at the end of Grease. It's just a joke.
I know it is. The Rocky theme playing.
It's great, the Rocky theme, isn't it? Yeah.
Another long lingering shot running up. She does. Yep.
God, that belly. Excuse me while I wipe up the dribble.
You sure that's dribble?
Mostly.
Okay. Yeah.
Mostly. Mostly come out at night. Right.
You know.
Anyway.
Yes.
Excuse me while I wipe the dribble away again.
It's just a dribble.
Back to the pink light and the sort of curly hair of our first incarnation, you might say.
Yep. Drop and give me 20. Final fourth wall break and a wink.
See all the boys' faces though, it's brilliant. Totally, their jaws are just on the floor. Great. Right, well, does this still stand up as a film?
It's dated.
Yeah.
There are moments in it that I find more uncomfortable than I remember them being before.
Which moments?
Like we were saying before, it's the way Gary slips into trying to speak jive, and there's a couple of times where I suppose it's like anything else. The more you watch it and the older you get, and when somebody starts talking about, calling somebody a faggot, a little bit. As I said, I found towards the end, it kind of, after the party, it kind of slows to a crawl, with the exception of the Chet scene. And there's some really funny moments. I actually found that I liked Lisa more as a character, or paid more attention to Lisa as a character, despite obviously the fact that she is attracted to 15-year-old boys.
Well, she's designed to be.
She's designed to be, yes. So it's in her nature, but I don't think that would stand up in court.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I find that the relationship she has and the way it develops between her and Gary and Wyatt really quite sweet.
Yeah. I mean, it starts off, she's like this sex doll for them, really. By the end, she's like big aunt, big sisterly. She's Mary Poppins. She's there to help them to uncover their potential.
Yeah. Nature.
And she does so with a great amount of sweetness, I would say. She plays that role just so well.
There's a couple of lines quite early on that feel a bit clunky the way she delivers them, but I really enjoy Kelly LeBrock's performance in this.
Yeah, I think it is tremendous. I think she really does it with sensitivity, you might say.
Yep. But enthusiasm as well. I mean, she's clearly having a lot of fun with this.
Well, apart from the scene where she's kissing Wyatt, there's not really much interplay between them, is there? Well, I suppose there's the shower scene. Probably a bit awkward to do. Bill Paxton is... Oh, he's just absolutely stellar in this.
But it's funny because I remember when Bill Paxton died, it was Chet I remember as doing the rounds more than anything else. That's quite impressive.
I mean, it's a minor role.
It is, but he's really, really fantastically...
Yeah. I mean, it's over the top without being a parody.
Yes.
It's played with so much relish, and yet he's still just on the right side of playing it straight. Oh, it's just wonderful. It's kind of an extension of, well, it's not an extension because it was before that, but it's kind of similar to the Hudson role, this sort of cocky arsehole.
The difference being, of course, that one is a military man and one isn't.
True, yeah. But I'm sure everyone can relate to like the older brother or the older relative who's always giving them shit.
Mm.
The sexism of the film is definitely there. The girls really don't have much of a character. I mean, Deb and Hilly, there's not much of them at all.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But Lisa, as arguably the main character there,
Yeah.
there's so much going on with her. And she's not just there to be gawped at.
But the point of the film is that Gary and Wyatt go from ideal fake women to real girls, their own age.
Yeah,
we don't know much about the girls as people, where we really should.
True. We weren't party to those long conversations that they eventually had with them over the course of that night.
Yeah, and the racial politics of the film, very good either, are they?
No. You've got the only black and Latino characters are there as a form of threat.
Yeah.
Or uncomfortable, yeah.
But yeah, to be presented as a threat all the time, it's not good. Okay, but for a film from 1985, there's a lot of bad racial portrayals in films. If you've got if you had a criminal, he was going to be black or Latino.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was true all the way to, the turn of the millennium, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think it still holds up, I mean, beyond the bad politics, because it's a funny film, it's an entertaining film. The moral of the film is still worth hearing, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So we've discussed earlier about the fantasy woman, but encourage you to be able to go towards the real women. Those are valuable things for boys to learn. There's a lot of scenes in it that are just very funny. Chet with a towel, the grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scene with Gary's parents.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Yeah, when they're making the doll the first time.
And the visual of them with the bras on their heads. And
Yeah. There's a lot of visual flair to this film. The fast editing, the style of it, I think, is really nice.
It goes along at a good pace. It doesn't. There's got energy. As I was saying earlier, it's such an 80s film. It works really good as a snapshot of a particular era or a particular era in film. And like this is a teen movie. This is the kind of teen movie that we were watching.
It's also got a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, it does.
It's really new wavy. On the pop side of new wave, it's really good, I think.
Yeah, I would be a soundtrack album. I'll have to listen to that at some point.
Yeah, it's new wave sort of stuff of the mid-80s. Pretty cool stuff. Stuff that's pretty kind of forgotten now, fallen by the wayside, but kind of cool tunes. Killing Joke, for example. So, yeah, Weird Science is a film. It's been part of my mental atmosphere for a long time. And yeah, I don't regret that. I think it's still a good film, still stands up. When you think about it, some of John Hughes' films can get a bit dodge with it. Was it Long Duck Dong in 16 Candles? And there's a bit of the whole date rapiness as well.
Yeah, there is that. I don't think John Hughes is the worst.
Not by a long shot. No.
I think you
No,
have to go a long way to beat Revenge of the Nerds on that one.
very much.
Stealth Seduction would.
Oh, like Surprise Sex. Yeah, I mean, it's very much of its time, but it's a stellar example of that time, and it still works, I think.
It is, yeah, it does. It does. And it's interesting as well, look at the ones who were in that went on to bigger and better things are surprisingly not the ones that, well, I suppose in Bill Paxton's case, you would think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have really flagged Robert Downey Jr. as being the one who went on to be the most successful out of this.
No. You would have thought Kelly LeBrock would go on to leading lady roles. Yeah,
she kind of disappeared, didn't she? She went and married Steven Seagal, and then...
That would do for anyone, wouldn't it?
That would probably do for her, yeah.
Yeah.
She does occasional bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And big on the convention circuit, apparently. As are Elan Mitchell-Smith and Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, Anthony Michael Hall has had quite the career, hasn't he?
I was looking that up, yeah. So after this, obviously, he was in... Now, was The Breakfast Club before or after this? I think it was maybe just before.
Just after.
Okay. So Breakfast Club was just after this. Then, was it Saturday Night Live? We already talked about that he had a season on.
Mm-hmm.
Then Edward Scissorhands, I'd forgotten he was in that.
Right, okay.
As the baddie.
Yeah.
And then did several series of The Dead Zone.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah.
Adaptation. As he played, is it Johnny Smith? But what I didn't realise, we already mentioned earlier, because he turned down Cameron in Ferris Bueller, turned down Ducky in Pretty in Pink. He was almost cast as Joker in Full Metal Jacket.
Really?
Apparently he was, I don't know if he shot any footage for it, but he was in the running for a good long time, and don't know why he lost out to Matthew Modine, but there we go.
All right, okay.
The only other thing I can really think of him turning up in any point in the last few years, he was in The Dark Knight.
Yes, he was. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Robert Downey Jr., when he does his Come to Bed Eyes, he does look pretty good there. Yeah.
Just the door.
Who's the other guy? Robert something. Who was in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Don't think much else apart from that.
No. And I couldn't tell you what happened to Deb and Hilly. I think one of them was in 90210.
One of them popped up in some B-grade horror films.
That doesn't surprise me.
They kind of disappeared off as well, yeah.
But it's the notable one that disappeared was Elan Mitchell-Smith.
Yeah.
Became an academic, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Well, his performance in Weird Science is not great, to be honest.
But I'm surprised that he just disappeared altogether.
Yeah, well,
Given the film was pretty successful. I mean, what was it? A $7.5 million budget, made $39 million.
Okay, yeah. I think that's more of a John Hughes achievement than
I don't think anybody was, thinking it was him that was.
Yeah.
Given that he was one of the two leads in it. Of course, the other thing to point out is the film itself spun off into a TV series.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Which completely passed me by. I watched the first episode.
Right. Okay.
Now, it's obviously much more sanitized. The opening episode, even though that Lisa is more of a genie in this than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's a much more sanitized thing. I like there's a line in it saying, it's like, we could create a woman. I saw it once in a John Hughes movie. I mean, the guy who plays Gary is okay.
Right.
He even looks a lot like Anthony Michael Hall. He's got the hair, he's got the look, he's got everything. Everybody else in it, I thought was pretty damn poor. Especially the guy playing Chet.
Oh, really? Oh.
It's just a completely different character.
Right.
But I didn't realise this went on for 5 seasons. There's 18 episodes.
5 seasons. I was deeply surprised at that. I thought it would be 1 or 2 maximum.
Yeah, I would have expected one series of 13 episodes and that was it. But nope.
Yeah. I saw one episode, I think it was on Channel 5 when it was on. So it was the late 90s.
Yeah.
And what happened was Gary and White wish something to happen, then Lisa makes it happen, and then the reality of the situation hits them.
Yeah.
So they wish to be rock stars. So for 1 week, they're rock stars, and then they're enjoying the fortune and fame. And then they have to go and record an album, and it gets completely bombed because they don't actually know how to make a good, successful album. Yeah, and this sort of thing about achieving what you've always wanted and then just having no idea what to do once you've got there, it just always reminded me of Donald Trump. That total floundering.
Now what?
No idea. Bit of politics, bit of politics.
Politics, yep. Keep it current. But yeah, not a great spin-off as far as I could tell. Oh, but in fairness, I was only basing it on one episode. And whoever it was that was playing Lisa, forget her name. Yeah, can't hold.
Forgettable. So yeah, that's not really worth it. But okay, so next episode we are going to be discussing Aliens. Yeah, a really great film. I still watch it quite regularly.
Oh yeah, and yep. I think Bill Paxton has probably played a big part in this film and choosing this one as well.
Aye, is it a horror film or action film? That's probably to be discussed.
Yeah, that's definitely a key part of the discussion as to what exactly are we watching here.
And how it compares to Alien as well, I think. So that's going to be the next episode. So if you've liked our discussion, give us a like, follow us on YouTube, you can follow us on Twitter, get in touch, let us know if we've talked absolute bollocks or if you have any other ideas about weird science.
Indeed. And it's always interesting to hear what people think.
Remember, if you have a bra in your head, it's ceremonial.
In fact, feel free to put a bra on your head, take a photo in the comments section.
Okay, so this has been Two Pricks talking 80s flicks, and we bid you good night.
Good night.